We couldn't let the Ark Royal come to Gibraltar without playing that little piece of music. Charlie also met a Royal Marine with a story to tell about Ark Royal's visit to Australia.
Now, Jonah Jones, Marine of HMS Ark Royal, has a story to tell us about a koala bear. Is that right?
Well, it was one day in Brisbane, myself and Marine Jackson, Jacko. He met one young lady and was asking her what she did. And she said her main part of her life is taken up working with the Animal Liberation Organisation. So once he found that out, he then told her that we've got our own koala bear on board, which we'd just acquired. And we kept it in the mess and fed it potato peelings. And at this point she said they don't eat potato peelings. And he says, well, our one does. She said they don't eat potato peelings. And he said, well, if it doesn't, we start swinging it around the grot and poking it with a stick. She says, you can't do that, they're endangered species. Then he went on to tell her about its mating call, which goes sort of like, ee, 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 ee. And she said it doesn't go like that, and started making these funny noises. And he said it definitely goes ee, ee, ee when we poke it with a stick. We left it at that, and then we got back on the ship the next day. Myself and this Jacko were on duty, and our colour sergeant was called to the wardroom, where there was a couple of uniformed officers and a plainclothes person. My colour sergeant came in, that's Shep, and they said, have you smelt any funny smells coming from the Marines barracks? And he says, no, what are you getting at? And he says, well, I've been told by a reasonable source that your men have kidnapped a koala bear and are holding it on board and feeding it with potato peelings. And my colour sergeant says, you got me on a bite, haven't you? And he says, no, go back and ask your men if they've got a koala bear on board. So he came back and inevitably asked myself and Marine Jackson. We told him the story, let our hearts out. And it just so happened one of the lads had bought a koala bear rucksack, which the colour sergeant then put on, went back and said, I haven't seen any koala bears with this thing on his back. And then we left it at that. The next thing we knew, back home we had these, there's two paper clippings I have here. Would you like to read them out, Lord?
No, you read out what it's...
Well, there's one which was for the people. The headline was Koala Navy Lark. And it says, a Royal Marine is in hot water after bragging about the pet koala he kept aboard the Ark Royal. His claims in a Brisbane bar sparked a major flap when the Australian customs official arrived at the aircraft carrier to investigate. Australian legislation strictly forbids the export of koala bears, an endangered species. The Marine had told an amazed group of locals that he fed the animal potato peelings and took it everywhere. They reported him, and the pet koala eventually turned out to be a toy that actually does go everywhere, perched on his backpack, through steaming jungles or yomping across the wastes of Dartmoor. The cuddly mascot stays by his macho side. It was a very, very serious probe, said a naval officer. Luckily, the customs investigator finally saw the funny side.
Charlie Lowndes with Jonah Jones, the Royal Marine aboard HMS Ark Royal.